Hey everybody. Hope you're having a wonderful Thursday evening, aka early Friday morning, because it's so freaking late. It's like 1:50 a.m. and probably no one's still awake. We're live on Periscope and YouTube and recording on Anchor. This isn't the first time I did a Periscope at 2 a.m. on an early Friday morning. In fact, right now it's 1:50 a.m. The other time I did this was at 2 a.m., actually 2 a.m. on an early Friday morning. And hey, Diacritical, why are you still awake? And I just remembered that you are officially my moderator, and I still have not figured out how to add you as my moderator. So this is something that's gonna happen, and the first thing hopefully that I'll do when I wake up in the other part of this Friday morning is to make you the moderator, and you're probably the only person watching right now. I'm kidding. Actually, something interesting that I found when I did that other 2 a.m. live stream was that there were actually more people watching than there were normally, which was really interesting. Diacritical was actually about to go to bed. You were staying up because, oh my gosh, this is all my fault. This is actually, you're making me feel so guilty right now, you have no idea. Not intentionally. I feel so guilty for being this late, and I'm gonna make a schedule. Like, this is something I have to do, is I have to make a schedule and stick to it and not be too late. And if it was gonna be this late, it would be like a schedule. Like, this and this and this date will be at X time, and then this other day, and then, just to make sure that yeah. And then once I have a schedule, it's just going to be easier for me. It's going to be easier for everybody. You'll all know when you can come on. And also, I won't be making people miss sleep. So, I won't be offended if anyone goes to sleep in the middle of this, or you fall asleep on your laptop. I won't be able to see you. So, I won't be able to see your face. So, I won't be offended if you fall asleep. And of course, someone's got an eggplant, which means that they're having fun while watching this video. Okay. At least you should be able to see Winston Churchill in the background. Ta-da! He's there staring at you. And while you're having fun with yourself, you should at least do it while watching Winston Churchill gaze into your eyes. And that's all I have to say. Nate says, do late night streams like this more often. Oh, okay. You want more late night streams? I always get surprised at how many people stay up this late. Wow. JD, thank you so much for the super chat. That's really awesome. Thank you. Thanks, guys. So, okay. This live stream is all about how to not be a retard. And someone is asking where I'm broadcasting from. It's from Washington, D.C. I thought it was really important to make this live stream about how to not be a retard, because it is Washington, D.C., and Washington, D.C. has the highest rate of mental illness. Just check it out. And, just look at the studies. Highest rate of mental illness, highest rate of alcoholism. Washington, D.C. has a lot of mental retards. So it's really hard for people in this city to not be retarded. Two reasons. Either they are retarded, which is why they come and live here, because the city attracts a lot of crazy, power-hungry people. Or they came here and then they became retarded because this place has, it just, everything about this place makes people crazy. The people make you crazy because they're crazy. The stress, the way that it's so transient, so it's very easy to feel alone, because it's like, you know, you've got a friend, you've got a best friend, and then suddenly you don't, because they've disappeared or their internship is over and they have to go back to whatever their country, their city is. And another thing is that this place is so lonely. In between, when Congress is off, it gets so lonely. So diacriticals, right? It's August is miserable in DC. It really is. It gets so quiet and lonely. And you know, now I'm thinking about it. That's why I was so like feeling so quiet this past month. And it is lonely and kind of depressing, but also December is actually even worse when it's like Christmas time. If you don't go back home with your family during holiday season, or you know, August or things like that, because people don't actually come here to be with their families, they're just here for work. So if you don't actually go home to be with your family during that season, you decide for whatever reason to stay in DC, you are in for a depressing time. A very, very sad winter. Anyway, here's how to stay sane throughout all of it. First of all, everything starts with positive thinking. No matter what happens, you cannot think that you are a retard. You can't think of yourself in any way as a retard or a lonely person or a crazy person or a loser. You can't think of it like that, because everything is all in your head, is all you have to know. It's all in your mind, and you decide what your destiny is, and no one else, because everything is relative, and everything is what you decide it is. So, are you really lonely? Well, do you consider seeing 7 people per week lonely, or do you consider it not lonely? It's all relative. What if you just saw 1 person per week? Well, the guy who lives in the cave might say that you are not lonely because you're still seeing 1 person every week, okay? So it's all completely relative, and it's all in your head. So you have to, with your head, decide that you are not a retard and that you have it good. You have to, in your head, decide that you're a normal person. And the more you say it to yourself, eventually you believe it. There is a Hebrew saying that says, even if you don't mean it, if you keep saying it, eventually you will mean it. Even if you don't believe it, just keep saying it to yourself. You will believe it. That's why in these very, very crazy protests, these like the social justice type of protests, and they say in the protests there's like all these sort of chants, like let's say, I don't even remember what the chants are, but let's say the chant is Donald Trump ate a lizard. And they kept saying it. Donald Trump ate a lizard. Donald Trump ate a lizard. And even if you think that it's not true and you don't believe it, eventually when you say it enough times, you really believe it in your mind. Donald Trump ate a lizard. So, whatever it is, you can convince yourself of your own reality. You can make your own reality, and you can convince yourself something is true. It all starts in the mind. Whatever you are saying whatever. I just I just got distracted by one of your comments. It's all your fault. Hey, Fleckus! Hello, hello, hello. Austin Fletcher is watching this live stream, and this is really cool because everyone should go and follow Austin Fletcher. You probably already follow him because he's famous. Austin says the chant goes, "No Trump, no KKK, no fascist USA," and you just keep saying it. No Trump, no KKK, no fascist USA, and it's like a song, and you just keep saying it, and it becomes part of your brain. And once it's there, it will affect everything else that you do. So that's where it all starts. Mental disorders are labels that are given to people with different kinds of emotional, mental, and hormonal imbalances. Labels can be practical when putting things in perspective, but we all have different imbalances to varying degrees, so it's all on a spectrum. The American Psychiatric Association is officially the judge of how much of it is functional and how much of it isn't. It's still all relative. That sort of thing is working on a spectrum. There is no definitive line between the retard and the non-retard. Psychiatrists get to pick and choose. Of course, they're skilled, they're professionals, and they know what they're doing, but they are the ones who are picking and choosing how much of your imbalance counts as retarded and how much of it doesn't, based on their own parameters of what is and isn't functional. So you might be a retard, or compared to the other retards, you might not be a retard. It's all relative, and you have the option of saying, I'm a retard, or I'm not a retard. You have the option of saying it, because at the end of the day, it's being a retard, being abnormal is only dependent on what normal is. So if everybody was a retard, if you weren't also a retard, then you would be a retard. You see what I'm saying? If everybody was abnormal, then by you being normal, you were abnormal. Got it? Capiche? Okay? If all right. So being retarded is based on your situation and how much you're able to function in your situation. Being retarded inherently does not mean that you're retarded. Okay? So that's why the first step you gotta do to not being a retard is to accept in your mind, I am not a retard. Unless you want to be a retard, in which case you should just tell yourself that you're retarded. Okay, next. The next step towards not being a retard is that now that you know that you're not a retard, let's seek out the things that make you not a retard, that make you not go towards being a retard. For example, creating structure. Creating structure is the number 2 step towards making you not a retard. Alright? There are a lot of different ways that you can find balance and structure in your life. You can adopt a certain routine, a habit, or a lifestyle. Sometimes religion might be the answer, especially if it's a very, very, very strict religion, such as ultra-Orthodox Judaism, or being Amish, or Mormon, something really strict. Sometimes a very strict religion is enough to snap you out of your imbalanced cycle and keep you in a routine. Have you ever met a crazy ass? Okay, you don't normally meet Mormons who are crazy. I don't normally meet crazy Mormons. And here's why. Mormons have a very, very structured lifestyle. And whatever you want to say about Mormons, people who have structured lifestyles are generally less retarded than average. Okay? Diacritical is warning me about Scientology. Be careful out there. Yeah, Scientology might give you the illusion that you're being structured, but in fact is a crazy ass cult. No offense if you're Scientology, if you know, blink twice if you want us to save you. Put a blink in the comments. Okay, and someone, if you blink in the comments, someone from the comments will come and save you from your life. Okay, all right. So you've got religion. You don't even have to be religious. If you just keep some religious practices in your life, they're very healthy. Like, I started doing this thing where when I was religious, every single morning I woke up in the morning, and it was kind of like a meditation, but I would say, thank you, God, for letting me live. Thank you, God, for letting me live. And I said a whole prayer in the morning. It was like a whole thing. But anyway, I woke up in the morning and I said, thank you, God, for letting me live. And it was like a mini meditation. And then when I stopped being religious, I was like, oh, I'm not religious anymore, so I'm not going to do any of this stuff. But then, more recently, I started doing it again, because I was like, well, just because I'm not religious, it doesn't mean I shouldn't do anything. It doesn't mean that I can't keep certain habits that really were helping me in my life. So, wake up in the morning, thank you, God, for keeping me alive. Or whatever you want to say. You know, I'm happy to be alive. I'm happy to wake up. Great. Okay. It doesn't have to be religion. It could be going back to school. I know people don't like to talk about going to school or college or whatever, but for a lot of people, being in a school structure, doesn't have to be school, some sort of training program that keeps you there, like a boot camp, something that keeps your life structured. That can do the trick. You know, like joining a swim team, but like something really intensive that can change your lifestyle completely. Has to be something real that changes your lifestyle. School, training, join the army. Joining the army is actually a great way to do it. A salary job, a 9-to-5 job, volunteering as part of like an intense volunteer program. All right. Yeah, joining the army is actually great. And the thing is, when people come back from the army, it's such a strong way of keeping people structured that when people leave the army, they often go crazy because that was the thing that was holding them together. The perfect structure or the perfect discipline of being in the army. And then they get out of the army, in addition to experiencing horrors on the battlefield or whatever it is that they experience, oftentimes this not even the craziness from what they saw, But even just leaving the structure of the Army can cause people to go crazy because it works while you're in it. Okay? Even something small. If you can't do a huge lifestyle structure thing, but even something small, like every Wednesday I'm going to water my plants. Every morning I'm going to meditate for 1 minute. Every afternoon at 3 o'clock I'm going to take my medication pills. I'm going to take calcium pills every afternoon at 3 o'clock. Literally, that can be enough to give you structure in your life. Every afternoon at 3 p.m., I'm taking my calcium pills. That can change your life. Just that little action of some sort of routine, structure, something that makes you feel like you're going back to normal. Every day it gives you something to look forward to. Not necessarily exciting, but it gives you a sense of security. Like this is going to happen again. This means I'm still alive. This means that life is still going on. This means that everything is we went full circle. Everything's going to be okay and stay the way that it is. Okay? You don't necessarily want to be dependent on all these external things. So I'm not saying become dependent on the Army or on school or on this little calcium pill taking or whatever, but learn how to create structures for yourself. So once you do get out of the Army, you can mimic that structure. Just because you leave the Army, it doesn't mean that you can't wake up every morning at 5 a.m. and you can't do your morning stretches and runs, and you can't do certain things. Just because you stop being religious doesn't mean you can't wake up in the morning and say, "Thank you, God, for keeping me alive." Just because you aren't in school anymore doesn't mean you can't read a book every morning before you do whatever your thing is. Okay. All right, number 3. You need to take care of your body. Taking care of your body is so important when in order for you to not be a retard. If you don't want to be a retard, don't have a retarded body system. And people are always like, yeah, like, you know, as long as you stay happy and whatever, everything will be fine. Well, sometimes not eating or not sleeping or not taking care of yourself, not exercising, these things will sometimes make you crazy, even if you're not a crazy person in general. All right? Okay, so first of all, the three big things: exercise, sleep, and diet. Those 3 things are like the biggest things when it comes to taking care of your body. Exercise, sleep, diet. So basically, just you know, go to the gym, run around. It is the perfect way to regulate your body's imbalances, make you feel great. Anytime I'm crazy and anxious and going out of my mind, I exercise, and every time I do that and then I exercise, everything just calms down. Everything is fine. And especially if I go swimming, I love swimming, and so it's just everything is fine. Sleeping is a huge thing. If I don't sleep, and it's not just sleep. It's not like, oh, just sleep 10 hours and you'll be fine. It's sleeping in a routine. You have to sleep. Try and sleep every night at the same time, wake up every day at the same time. Try and have like a sleeping routine. And the earlier you sleep and the earlier you wake up, usually the better. Early to bed, early to rise. You know, like there's so much to that is not even related to this, but at least have a routine. Sleep around the same time, wake up around the same time. Don't sleep too much or too little. And also eat healthy. Don't necessarily eat whatever someone else is telling you to eat. You don't need to follow some sort of crazy diet plan that you found online or that one of your friends said they tried and it worked. Find out what works with your body and create some sort of, like, the same way you would create a budget for yourself for going in, like, spending money, whatever, when you're out. Create like a food budget in your mind, like how much you can have per day. And so if you, and kind of like with calories, right? If you had a certain amount of calories that day, then you save the rest for later. I don't know, but create some sort of reward system for yourself. Create for eating healthy. Create some sort of budget or limit sort of thing every day, like a plan. And also find out what foods work well with your body and eat according to that. Just experiment on yourself. Think of your body as like like a lab. Think of your body as a lab and experiment with your body. And it might take a while till you figure it out. For me, I know that when I cut rice, pasta, and bread out of my diet, I could still eat whatever I want. But when I cut those three things out of my diet, I just lose weight no matter what. As long as I cut those three things from my diet, I can eat whatever I want, go wherever I want. Also, another thing is, like, even if I don't cut those three things from my diet, as long as I stay really active, I'm fine. So staying active and reducing certain types of carbs. Another way to take care of your body: meditate, relax, get a spa treatment, a massage, do yoga, maybe even go out and have fun at a party. Stay away from crutches. Stay away from addictive things like alcohol, desperate hookups, smoking, and drugs. Okay? So just stay away from those things that are very temporary. And most of all, watch my live streams, because if you watch my live streams, you're going to be so relaxed that you'll fall asleep. And then you will not be a retard because you'll be sleeping. Get it? You can't be a retard if you are awake, if you're sleeping. Okay. Also, don't over-medicate. So I used to be like a big, anti-prescription meds and whatever. They're trying to drug all of us and turn us all into zombies. Well, not necessarily. And I've become used to the idea that prescription meds can actually be very helpful. And if they're available, then why not take it? Why should you make your brain sizzle with anxiety, which actually does cause a lot of health problems? It really does cause so much health problems, an insane amount. And people don't realize it. People are like, you shouldn't, like, at the end of the day, if whatever you're doing thinking that you're going to improve your health is causing you anxiety, then it's not worth it. Because anxiety is the number one thing that's causing people's health to be destroyed. Your anxiety is going to be the most important thing to take care of. So if taking prescription meds is absolutely necessary for that, then you should definitely do it. But just don't over-medicate. And I think that a big problem right now is that doctors are over-medicating people. and they're training us to have these crutches. And it's not healthy. It's not healthy at all, because it causes more addiction, and then when we don't have enough, we've got withdrawal, and it totally messes with our system, and it can actually make you retarded. So, all right. Number 5. Number 5 might actually be the most important, to be honest. It might actually be the most important. Maybe it even should be number 1. Number 5, okay. Stay away from people who are retarded. Stay away from other retards. Even if you think that you are retarded, if you stay away from other retards, you have a lesser of a chance of becoming more retarded. So it doesn't mean be judgmental or hypocritical by being like, oh, I'm retarded, but I don't want to be around retarded people. It doesn't mean that. It just means that you're doing your due diligence in taking care of your retarded self and staying away from other retards. Here's what my dad always says. My dad says, Pardes. And I would tell my dad, like, oh, I'm having anxiety, I'm having a panic attack. And he'd say, stay away from other anxious people. If you feel like you might have an anxiety attack, you should stay away from people who are having the same feeling as you. Stay away from other people with anxiety who are having an anxiety attack or just going nuts right now, because whatever they're feeling is going to trigger what you're feeling, okay? So somebody else is losing their mind and being a retard. That feeling is contagious. If you are on the verge of losing your mind and being a total retard, then you might be totally triggered by that person in that moment. And if that person is like, oh, I'm gonna cut myself now, and you're near them and you were literally about to do it, that person just pushed you off the edge. So now you're both cutting yourself. Is that healthy? No. Maybe. You should stay away from other people who might trigger those negative feelings in you. And then once the feelings wash away, you can be around whoever you want. So stay away from people who will stay away from other retards. Okay, number 5, how to not be a retard. Stay away from other retards. Okay? I know it might sound hypocritical, but it's just the rational way to do it. Stay away from other retards. And don't be mean. Just be like, I have to protect my own mind right now, and that involves I need some space. Okay? And another thing is just stay away from people who make you feel retarded. If you're around people who make you feel retarded, even if they seem normal, they're not normal, because if they were normal, they wouldn't be making you feel the way that you are feeling. At least not in your reality. Okay? So if they're making you feel, even if they're like totally normal and actually have really nothing wrong with them, but by making you feel retarded, they're being a toxic presence in your life. So stay away from them. Usually people who make you feel a certain way are also feeling that way inside, to be honest. So someone who's making you feel like a retard, usually those people are also feeling like a retard inside. You won't know it by talking to them, whatever, but it actually is true. I know this. Okay. Why do we love living in tribes? We need to stick to people who are just like us in order to not feel like crazies, like retards. And science proves that this makes for more balanced people. The problem is when you've got a bubble of people around you who are just like you and are thinking like you and are causing you to just become more and more entrenched in your retardedness, and you're not being pulled out of it. And then you're suddenly confronted by someone who's a little different, and then you all lose your collective minds. And now with the internet, people are forced to have their bubbles popped. And then, because you now feel insane because they're different, you're gonna start calling them insane. And then it's like a whole cycle. I said retard so many times in this live stream, there's no way this is getting monetized. No freaking way. Okay. Alright. So, just remember, being a retard is totally relative. If a lifestyle or mentality that works for other people isn't working for you and your brain problems, then maybe you need to venture out of the box a little bit. Just because other people are doing fine in a certain situation doesn't mean that you need to be fine in that situation. Maybe you need something different because everyone's different. You've got a different body, you've got totally different life experiences, and it doesn't make you a retard. It just makes you different than those people, and it makes you somebody who needs a special situation. Okay. Maybe you have to try out different things, different ways to fix your brain problems. If you are someone who's never, ever, ever able to stay and can't be restless and is always restless, you don't need to force yourself to sit in a chair 10 hours a day. Maybe you could do something that works with your body. Maybe you're not actually a retard. Maybe you're just very restless and your body needs something that's more active. Maybe you need to maybe you need to travel constantly, more than other people. It doesn't make them more normal than you. It just means that you're badass with a lot of energy. Okay? Find other people who enjoy the things that you enjoy and like the things that you like. Find other people who are as different as you, not retards like you. Find other people who share the same positive qualities that you have, okay? Don't be around other people with the same negative qualities that you have. So don't be around other retards. Be around other people who are still like you, but are not retarded, okay? So they like the same things that you like. And the only way to find that, by the way, is to be able to accept that the things that you like and love and the way that you are does not make you a retard. So we kind of go back to the first thing, which is you can't call yourself a retard because it's such a relative word. It's like made up. Yeah, it's totally relative. All right. So who has got questions for me? I'm the spiritual guru. How does it go again? That's called yoga. All right. Okay, questions from the audience. Alright. Someone is saying, I don't understand half of comments. Like, half of your comments are conversations with each other. And so it's like, I have to follow your personal conversations. Gosh. One person is saying, is it healthy to have a lot of sex or abstain? Can't imagine why it wouldn't be healthy unless you're doing it in an unhealthy way with random people that make you feel lonely and give you STDs and are not being faithful and are not being monogamous. Alright. Purple Pootie Tang says, more importantly, surround yourself with mentally strong people, not people that give in to buzzwords. I 100% agree with you. I keep blinking, and it's not because I joined a Scientology cult. It's because there's something in my contact lenses. I think my contact lenses are dry. Nate says, are you Sephardic, Pardes? Not sure if you ever mentioned it. Yep, Sephardic. Alright. Diacritical says a new name for the stream should be Pardesology. Do you guys like Pardesology? Grumpier is asking if this is live. Yes, this is live. JCA says, plans for the weekend / events. Yeah, my plans keep changing all the time. I always have random plans that keep changing, and I'm trying to train myself to take everything one step at a time. Don't be thinking like 5 days in advance, oh no, in 5 days I have to meet with this person. Especially when it comes to meeting and hanging out, there is no obligation to do anything or go anywhere or whatever. And actually with anything, work on it work on it step by step. Don't think about all your next 50 projects right now. Think about just your next project and totally forget about everything else. And then once your first or second project gets wrapped up, you can go and worry about the next thing. Alright. Diacritical, good night. I see you're falling asleep. I'm falling asleep too. I'm basically sleep talking. So I get it if you're going to sleep, because I'm probably going to fall asleep on this live stream. Kidding! Haha! I tricked you! This is such a weird live stream. Guys, I met this young girl, this very nice girl, tonight, and she said that her mom watches this live stream. Hey, Mom. And she also said that her mom makes her watch the live streams too. And I just wanted to say that if that mom is watching, I just want to say I love you so much with all my heart. And this really made my week. This is so cool that this girl's mom is forcing her to watch my live streams. Oh my gosh. Ira says, don't fall asleep on a Twitch live stream. They'll give you a strike or thumbs. Wow, I had no idea they could even tell. That's so strange. That's kind of creepy that they're watching your live streams and making judgments based on it. It's kind of oh, what's going on? JCA really likes the streams that are on events around DC. I'm happy to hear that because there are going to be more events happening. Alright. Okay. All good. gonna go to sleep now. Gonna go to bed. Have some nice dreams about not being a crazy person. And I'll see you all tomorrow night. If you have any topics you want me to talk about, whatever, hit me up. Alright, take care everyone. Good night.